2025. Can you guys believe it? I know that this is sort of a Gregorian way of counting years. So it is, let's say, kind of the false matrix, but there is power in it because what is so powerful to the human experience is, of course, the collective human conscious. And when all of humanity is tapped into a numerical system, there is a lot of energy and power behind it. However, did you guys notice that the holidays and New Year's didn't feel as festive as it usually did in the past? Let me know in the chat if Christmas this year felt a little bit weird, almost as if we were in a toy shop or a theater. It was like we were trying to Christmas, but there wasn't really a lot of Christmas spirit. It was kind of weird. And then New Year's rolled around, and again, there was a couple people doing the whole fireworks thing, but people are over it. And this is a really, really good sign. I'm going to get into why. But I'm still doing this 2025 Emerald Serpent energy report just because the Emerald Serpent energy has been with me for many months now. And she is so powerful, so mystical, so incredibly potent and important. And her medicine is so vital for us right now that it just felt really important for me to share this. Of course, her year doesn't really start until the Chinese New Year at the end of January on the 29th, I believe. And so we're still at the tail end of the dragon year. We're still experiencing the very end of everything we need to wrap up and finish learning, finish completing, finish building for the rest of the dragon year into this January. And then we're going to step into that Emerald Serpent year. And I am so excited. You guys have heard me say for many months now, I am ready to slither. After that year of being, set on fire and struck by lightning and just learning by absolute challenges and chaos and hardship and, all sorts of different things that challenged me to my core and pushed me to the limits of my comfort zone and beyond, I am ready to integrate all of that and drop really close to the ground and literally slither my way through the next 12 months. That's how I'm feeling. Let me know how you guys are feeling in the chat. So, I believe the reason why Christmas was so weird this year is actually because the collective magic that has been cast on the human collective is losing its power. So, in order to generate this false sense of reality, this reality that is separated from the organic space, organic earth, organic stars. I mean, it's so funny whenever I talk to Graham, who is my Galactic Astrology, who I make the Galactic Astrology calendar with. He would post every year on New Year's Day that there is nothing happening in the sky on New Year's Day, just as a joke, and it's the funniest thing. Generally in the false matrix, it's almost like the biggest celebration people have, right? People go all out with the poisons and the dancing and the going out and everything. But there's actually nothing going on that day besides some ancient emperor that was like, this is the beginning of the year. And it's to lock all of humanity in this calendar system that is completely out of sync with organic time. And so, when we are completely asleep, we celebrate these holidays because that's just what we do. But as we wake up, as humanity wakes up, and these spells are beginning to break up, these spells that are cast over our consciousness that block us from being able to perceive reality clearly, they begin to lose their power. And basically, we kind of say, hey, this is actually kind of weird. I'm actually not feeling festive. And there's nothing that can trick us into feeling festive in ways that aren't actually organically true. For example, I say that Starseed Christmas is the Pleiades gateway, which is when the Earth, the Sun, and the Pleiades star system are in a straight line. Photons travel in a straight line unless they are, unless they bounce off something. And so this means that those photons directly from the Pleiades are streaming into the sun, and we're experiencing that with our consciousness. And so we literally do feel elated and ascended and happy, and we receive all these revelations from those stargates. This is an organic expression of celebration that encourages human beings into a state of celebration instead of something artificial that is stimulating us, telling us this is a day that we should do something, some sort of ritual, right? Go trick-or-treating, whatever it is. You should do this on this day. And, as the grids are activating, as humans are awakening, that spell is losing its power. So if you felt this Christmas, this New Year's is a little strange, I really think this has been why people just don't really want to, or there's no energy coercing them to go along with the false matrix calendar anymore. Um, and um, okay, so then let's get into it then. When this month, um, okay, with the Chinese astrology, here's what I think it is. Okay, it is a very powerful form of ancient synchronicity. This is what I have found. Because even though it kind of aligns with a Gregorian calendar system, it has been in place for so long, set in place by these ancient shamanic people, that it is now kind of ingrained in the collective minutia and the consciousness. And at this point, it's become this synchronicity. Okay, it's like this co-creative synchronicity. Is it completely organic? I mean, who put these animals onto years? It's completely kind of, um, not real in one sense of the word, but in another sense of the word, there are so many people that are going along with the system, and it came from this ancient time when these shamans were putting the system in place. Ancient Taoism is about aligning heaven and the earth. So everything in Taoism talks about the heaven realm and the earth realm and the things that we can do to align those two realms. This is what Taoism is all about, is collapsing the separations that keep source from heaven from being on the earth. And we are kind of that intermediary. Our consciousness is of the heavens, our bodies is of the earth. And when we can align everything, put everything in right order, then we are these channels, we are these architects of that heaven on earth reality. So this is what Taoism is based on, and what it's all about. And these ancient Taoist shamans have created these systems that allow us to connect to organic time, which is, of course, what synchronicity is. When you are experiencing synchronicity in your life, it means that you are experiencing alignments that are divine. Something beyond your little self, something cosmic is um, in the process of creating a reality, and you're aligned with that reality that God is creating. And so you're experiencing all of these things that give you signs that you're in alignment with that reality. So I believe that the dragon year has been such a powerful, potent energy, and it really has been setting the space for the serpent year. I say this because the serpent is such a feminine energy. There is a reason why in so many places like Ireland we were in last year, there's these stories of how these Christians came and chased the serpents out, right? Kicked all the snakes out of the land. There never were any snakes recorded in history on that land to begin with. So what was the serpent that they were talking about? Is the idea of the holy feminine, the divine feminine, the feminine mysteries, the magic, the witch hunts, this feminine Christ aspect of Christianity that has completely been erased by these beings, this fallen patriarchy, this false patriarchy that has wanted to control this planet, control her resources, control humanity. So the process of the Great Awakening must have to do with the balancing of these creation energies. And in that process of the balancing, we must see the healing of the masculine, the retrieval of the true masculine. This is why I say it's the false patriarchy, because the true patriarchy, like if we had the true Holy Father energy in control, in guardianship of the kingdom, we would not be seeing this chaos in the world. So oftentimes, because the feminine has been oppressed, people want to throw Holy Father out the window. That's not what we want to do, I promise you, okay? So we want to connect to the true Holy Father energy, and we want to allow him to create peace and stability and safety so the true feminine can actually be in her highest radiance. And that's literally what has been happening over the last year. The dragon year was a triple yang year. Okay, this is why it was so challenging, because with the masculine energy, it's about initiation, it's about expansion, it's about, oh, you want to manifest this, well, are you willing to rip yourself apart and expand to be the version of you that can actually hold that reality that you want? If you say you want to manifest having $1 million so you can help the world? Are you going to become the kind of person that has the work ethic, that has the stamina, that has the devotion to be able to create a reality where you can hold that thing that you say you want? And 2024 has been all about that trial by fire, hardship, challenges, betrayals, things that, God saying, hey, I hear that you want this thing. Are you willing to do this? And then you saying yes, and then you finding yourself in the middle of that crazy challenge, is being like, oh my God, can I do this? And then realizing that you can, right? So that's that super yang. When I say triple yang, the dragon historically is a yang energy, the 8 is a yang energy, and the wood element is a yang energy. So this was a triple yang energy. It was all about healing of the masculine energy, healing our father wounding, healing our Holy Father wounding, our disconnection from, Holy Father God, and our inner masculine, the one that maybe doesn't believe in ourself or doesn't trust in our ability to make our mission, our purpose happen. All of that was 2024. And if we were doing our job, if we were really working it in 2024, taking advantage of those yang energies, created the foundations, built that business, started that bank account, did all those things that create the kingdom for our true Christed feminine energy to express herself, then 2025 is going to be a very, very powerful, beautiful year of shedding. Now, the first message that Mother Serpent wanted to share was this question: are you a spectator or are you a source player? Okay. Are you a spectator or are you a source player? What this means is when you are watching videos, even this video, there's so many videos out there, right? News channels and updates and situations and fires and all sorts of stuff. When you go out to watch those videos, are you a spectator? Are you trying to piece together what the world is going through and what timeline you're on by looking at other things that are outside of yourself? Or are you a source player, meaning you already know what your soul is doing, what your mission is, and you know what your tasks are from God on a daily basis, that it doesn't really matter what is going on the third dimension, on the other timelines, doesn't matter. You are still, I keep track of things and I'll still watch those videos, but I'm not watching those videos to create a reality inside of my mind, right? I already know what reality I'm in. No matter what goes on the outside reality, I have my schedule filled of tasks that is my mission and what I'm here to do, basically years in advance. I'm never running out of things that I can do. I know what my mission is. And it's taken me very many years to triangulate that exact way that those gifts that God has placed inside of me, I have figured out how to share them in very, very creative ways. And that is what God wants us to do. So, this question, are you a spectator or are you a source player, is so, so important, because every single year we watch these videos, right? And it actually makes absolute no difference what year it is. If you are a spectator, you're going to keep being a spectator, and it doesn't matter what the year's energy going to be, you're not going to take advantage of it. You're still going to be a spectator at the end of the year. And if you're a source player, I'm really excited for you, because this video is going to share with you the behind the scenes energies. These energies may not be the energies that you see on the world stage, even though you're probably going to see some of it, right? These energies are for the starseeds, the people that are working on God's plan, on God's mission behind the scenes, behind the matrix. We're tinkering away in Santa's workshop, right? Tinkering away inside the Earth's grids, building the scaffold, creating the foundation for the future reality to take place. So, how can you go from being a spectator to a source player? The second message of this energy report that our Serpent Mother, Holy Mother, as expressed through the earth, has to share is that it is time for us to go all in, go all in. What does it mean to go all in? Let's just sit with this idea for a second, okay? Because you guys might have seen that Z, you were thinking Z's going all in. I was not all in. It looked like I was all in, right? I was all over the planet while I was pregnant. I was running all these courses and making these videos for you and building curriculum. It's like, wow, Z's all in. I am finding spaces where I am not all in, okay? So, Holy Mother is asking for us to take stock of all of the places in our body where we don't trust our vision, we don't believe in our mission, we have viruses, things like the Armageddon virus, which is there's a subtle voice in our head that goes, well, the world's going to end. So what's the point? The world's going to end. So I don't have to do anything. Oh, like it's all scary anyway. So what am I supposed to do? Like, I can't figure out what my mission is, right? There's another virus that makes us lazy, right? There's another virus that makes us coast and makes us go in amnesia, like makes us comfortable. We hide in that comfort. We say, oh, well, I know where my meals are coming from. I know where my paycheck is coming from. Why should I challenge that? Why should I change that up? Well, there is going to be a part of you that is very, very sad and unfulfilled, and you're going to look at people who are living out your dream and you're seething. You hate on them. You leave hateful messages because you're not allowing yourself to go all in. And this year, I'm inviting you to love yourself, right? The only reason why God has asked me to put myself out there is to show you guys what is possible when you just follow the crazy voices. Not all of them, the ones that come from God, the ones that inspire you to become shinier, fuller, healthier, excited humans. And really think about going on it all in. If there is a mission, if there is a business, if there's a book you want to write, this is the year to go all in because we are paddling for the wave of the Great Awakening, okay? And you know how in cryptocurrency there are these waves and people say, oh, this is an amazing time to get into crypto. Well, the best time to get into Bitcoin was obviously 10 years ago. Getting into the Great Awakening, it's like the new Bitcoin or the true original Bitcoin or whatever. Your soul's mission and your soul's business is like the most hyped Bitcoin, right? And the greatest way to invest in that Bitcoin is by going all in and investing in yourself, believing in yourself, doing the thing you know you need to do. Okay. And the rest of this energy report is going to be this serpent wisdom teaching you guys how to how to do that, how to make use of this energy. Because, of course, the first biggest thing about serpents is that they shed old skin. Now, the process of shedding old skin is uncomfortable, right? They outgrow their skin and they're squished inside of it and they're not comfortable anymore, but they're not yet who they want to become. And sometimes it's painful and your skin is drying up and you're squeezing out of your old form. This is what it's been feeling like for me because I turned 30 and I built my business when I was in my 20s. And now it's like, oh, I'm too old for this sometimes, but I'm squeezing out of the skin and I don't know where I'm going, but I just have to keep going. Just have to keep doing it. And then you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what this next place is going to be. So, with that shedding skin, it means that there are things that are outdated, your old comforts, things that have been okay in your life, things that you could get away with. Maybe it's your diet, maybe it's your sleep schedule, maybe it's watching certain kind of shows on the TV. At this point, I don't watch any shows. I can't watch them unless it's something that I'm tasked to watch, specifically to scan or to on a mission or whatever it is. I just can't. I don't do it. I don't like doing it. My brain is too plugged in to the earth. There's too many good shows and those rocks over there for me to be entertained by Netflix. And I promise you guys, this is just what it is to be human. I've been on this journey of figuring out what humans are for 10 years, how to be human, how to love being human, what this beautiful human body was designed to feel like. I've been on this journey for over 10 years now. And now I really much prefer to plug my mind right into a tree and read directly from the earth's records of whatever stories I could possibly want to hear. And So, okay, it could be dietary choices, right? Maybe you were eating a certain diet and you know that it's not been feeling good, but you just kind of been delaying the process of changing your diet, whatever it is, right? Becoming aware of the places that you are uncomfortable and that it needs to grow is the first part of it. And then, the second part of it is that a lot of times people try to change because they actually hate themselves, right? You want to be better because you hope that if once you're better, you'll love yourself, or once you're better, other people will love you. And this is a really difficult way to live life. It's a difficult way to change. This is the reason why most people's New Year resolutions do not come true. And I say the best way is to really actually love yourself. And so, how about the first thing we shed is that we don't hate ourselves anymore. We don't put ourselves last. We don't put ourselves down. We don't feel unworthy. In fact, we feel we are this beloved baby angel of God and we love ourselves. And from there, we shed our old habits from this place of loving ourselves, from this place of fullness, from this place of wanting to give ourselves true love instead of these artificial replacements that we've been handed throughout time in the false matrix, which are our habits. The false matrix makes it seem like it's hard to take care of. Oh, it's so hard to keep a fitness routine. It's so hard to eat well. Well, you just want to eat junk food. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's just a bunch of spells. When we love ourselves, it feels so good to take care of yourself in a good way. So, it's such an important time to do that because without doing that, your body does not have the capacity to operate on the level that you want it to. If you get around millionaires, if you get around successful young people that are running businesses, every single one of them has a fitness routine, eats really well, takes care of themselves. Number one, that's the number one priority because they understand for sure that health is wealth, that your body is the one that is operating in this physical reality. And without vitality, you are not getting anywhere. So you can't skip that part. Love yourself, love your body. The body is this magical, magical creation that God made to have this experience on this beautiful planet. And she deserves the greatest care, the greatest love. It begins with just that feeling of love for yourself, right? This is the time. Mother Serpent is saying you can shed all those layers that weren't even you. It weren't even you. It wasn't even your idea to hate yourself. It wasn't even your idea to not love yourself. Okay? So, first and foremost, find the love for yourself and shed everything that's not that. Now, the second thing is then the serpent carries this wisdom of continuous creation energy mastery. What does this mean? We have scatterbrain. Okay, scatterbrain is another spell that we're under. I was just on a call the other day and I could not believe the level of ADHD that was occurring. And it wasn't just anyone, it was everyone, right? Because we're on our phones, we're scrolling, and we're being entertained, and we can barely make it through. This is why, I thought about making shorter content, but then I changed my mind. You know, you guys might have noticed last year that I tried making some reels that are kind of in the template that other people make content. And I've decided to go the other way. You're going to see my now content that I'm going to make on Instagram. I'm going to go slower than I originally. If I used to make long videos, I'm going to make even longer videos. If I used to talk slowly, I'm going to slow down even more because there's this organic frequency that we have to find ourselves back to. And this is the greatest service to humanity that I could be offered right now. I don't care how many people, how many followers I miss out on because they can't follow my content because their brains are scattered. But if I can bring them out of scatter, this will be great service to humanity because when our brain is scattered, we can't create. When you think about creating heaven on earth, okay, we're talking about a planetary civilization. We're not talking about a home. We're not talking about a single business. We're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars of GDPs and societies and food that needs to be grown and cities that needs to be built and water that needs to be moved. I mean, this is a whole operation, y'all. And if we think that we're going to be able to fulfill this operation with scatterbrains, we've got it coming. This is why I'm saying, are you a spectator or are you a source player? Because to become a source player, we have to get de-scatterbrained. We think that ADHD is funny, and it isn't, because we just think, oh, ha ha ha, it's because we have neurodivergence, and it's because we're so creative, and it's true. Okay, people with ADHD are geniuses, but you're a useless genius if you can't be a source player. And I'm saying this with so much love and jovial energy. I hope you can feel my heart and not come after me for saying these things. I love you so much. I'm just saying, we got to clear the heavy metals out of our brains and stop scrolling, stop feeding our brains junk, start eating more fats so that we can reactivate this master blueprint in our brain that's capable of seeing creations that are hundreds of years in the making to their fruition. The amount of focus and groundedness and laser precision that is required for our purpose to take root, it is serious, and it requires for us to go all in. Right? Jesus didn't become Jesus by accident. This man was probably training with his grandparents, with his parents in the temples every single day for decades to have focus, to be grounded, to have capacity in his body. So the serpent, you think about it, okay? The serpent moves in one direction and its whole body moves in that one line. This is a mastery energy. So I want you to think back to 2024, okay? What were your resolutions? What did you want to create? And then I want you to think about if those things, if you made progress on those things. Okay. And if you made no progress on some of those things, it's because we got scatterbrained and we completely disassociated from those things and we didn't move in one direction to create those things and concretize them. So, this continuous creation energy, it is a feminine energy because you are getting really, really still. You have to get really, really still and really, really clear about the direction that you're going before you exert that energy to go towards it. Okay? And in some ways, in the numerology, this is a 9-year, right? So this is kind of an interesting thing because a 9-year usually isn't the year that you start brand new enterprises. It is a year that you kind of take stock of the previous 9 years and you read and you see, what you've created, what has been made progress on, what has been learned. You take stock of everything. But the serpent energy is dropping you close to the earth so that you can see where you want to go when that 1 year comes next year. Right? Okay, so, but the preparation is just as important as the start. People don't really know this. Okay? People think that you just get started, you just start running, and this is why sometimes we have our resolutions, we get started, and then we completely disassociate because we have no idea what we're doing. We have to get clear about where we're going and how we're going and the things that we need to get where we need to go. Right? So this is all part of this continuous Christian energy that requires focus because sometimes you need to read, you need to study, you need to practice, you need to work on yourself. And all of this requires a deep focus and a deep devotion that sometimes you will not see the rewards of. That's the hard thing about this, right? That's why we have scatterbrain, is because we want that immediate gratification, and the internet will give that to us. That's why the spell works, because our brain wants to feel good. Our brain wants to be validated. And so we're chasing this validation, but it's taking us away from the actual value of where our gifts are, right? This is what I've noticed. It's like the more that I try to conform to what people are doing, what the internet is doing, which is going more and more towards the AI, I realized that the smart thing to do is actually the other way, because the more everything goes towards the artificial, the more valuable your organic intelligence is going to be. And kudos to the 216 people that are hanging out with me here. Hang out with me here in the organic frequency, okay? Where being yourself is the highest value. Where actually loving yourself enough to allow your true self to be expressed and even be seen and be videotaped and to be expressed in a way where people can now see you and witness your gifts. These things are going to be the most valuable things in the next 10 years. This is the real Bitcoin, I promise you. You are the real Bitcoin. You are the real crypto meme coin that you're going to be, able to create the wealth that you need to execute on your mission. But it requires this continuous creation, energy, mastery. And part of what needs to happen is social media detoxing, technology detoxing. I would recommend having one day of every week you don't touch the technology, because I'm pretty sure these things have hooks. Like, they have things crawling out of thing. It's crawling out of the screen and it's grabbing your neurons. That's what it's doing. I'm almost certain. Okay. And you have to realize that the real abundance is inside of the earth. I promise you. The real abundance is inside of the earth, and she can help you access your soul. And from there is where all of the gifts that God has placed inside of you to share with humanity is lying. It's not out here. You're not going to find it on some random reel while you're scrolling. You're going to find it while you're meditating, going inwards into your body, down close to the ground with the earth. And in order for us to get that still, that grounded, and you can feel this emerald mother serpent just grabbing us, right? Enveloping us, swallowing us, taking us down to the earth energy. And I really think that this is a year where deep sexual healing will be supported. I have to think this for every year. I have to think this for every year, because this is just what humans need the most. Humans need this. People don't want to do it. It's unsavory. It's not nice. It's not fun. Okay, it's like this obscure thing. Oh, it's just like something in a book on a bookshelf over there. Let me not think about it that much. But this is the most important thing that humans need to do, because this entire prison system, this false matrix soul prison system, is built on sexual abuse and sexual perversion. And so in order to free our consciousness and our body, we have to go in and do this deepest healing, which, of course, people don't want to do it because our bodies are connected to the grids. As soon as we start doing this work, we start going into the ritual abuse grids of the earth. There's no escaping it, right? And so it's hard stuff. People don't want to do it. But the mother serpent consciousness of this year is so potent, is so active. And part of the most beautiful medicine of the serpent is the renewal, is the rebirth. There's almost this miracle medicine available here, where when we tap into her cool, grounded, pure consciousness, there is immense purification and healing that can happen in just a very mystical and magical way. The earth has shown me that enough work in the grids has occurred that her true consciousness can actually begin to return in the third dimension this year. This is very powerful information, and I'm sneaking it in here in the middle of this video because every time I talk about Holy Mother, I get shadow banned. And I have some, I guess I can understand why that happens, but now I have to sneakily talk about her, I guess. Hopefully this video doesn't. But this is what she has shared with me, is that her return is happening very, very triumphantly to the people that can hear her. Right? To the people that can see her and hear her, you're going to feel like literal temples are becoming resurrected on this planet, and things are appearing out of thin air and trumpets are blaring from the sky. It's going to be so obvious to you. But on the surface, in the third dimension, it might not look like anything just yet. Might just not look like anything just yet. Okay, but she has shared me that 2025 is in fact the year that her temple is going to begin to rematerialize in the third dimension, and that is going to be through you guys, through the light workers, through the divine feminines and the masculines and the males, right? There's a lot of men who are here on the same mission on a very knightly mission to restore the divine union blueprints and to support Holy Mother in her return. But a lot of you guys are going to feel revitalized, right? You're going to feel that temple being re-enlivened in your body. And this is what I mean. It's like maybe previously we didn't feel like we could go all in because we felt kind of weak. We felt kind of lost. We felt kind of scared. We felt we didn't have the right tools or the resources to do what we wanted to do. And we thought it was financial resources, right? We thought it was all of these physical things that we didn't have, but we didn't realize is that it's actually the spiritual, energetic resources of strength, vitality, power. And these things are given to us through the Earth's grids. And so much of this healing in the Earth's grids has happened to this point now where the light workers, we can really start to feel strong in our body, like we are capable of doing this thing that we came here to do. And I'm doing another call in about an hour, in just a little over an hour, inside of the Earth Star Academy. We're going to go into healing our wing trauma, which is so tied into exactly what I'm talking about here, because the wings are our shoulders, our shoulder blades, the top half of our spine. And when we have a wing trauma, when our wings are broken, we don't feel like we can fly. We feel like the opposite of flying. We feel like lying on the ground crying, right? So when we realize that the wings are being restored, which is also the Earth's grids. The Earth's grids are these energy systems that allow source consciousness to flow through it unimpeded. And when there are distortions or breaks in the ley lines, it really is like the Earth's wings are broken. And we feel the result of that. As we receive our power from the earth, our life force, when her grids are broken like that, we don't feel like we can uphold the truest, highest strength of our blueprint. We don't feel like we can be our fullest selves and express our fullest power as angelic beings on this planet. And this is the year that those tides are shifting, where those dragon lines are online to a point where the feminine can now feel safe. The masculine has established this kingdom. Holy Father has been able to return to the surface to an extent where we can feel the presence of that protection, of that law, so that we can feel this freedom and safety in rising and expressing. And this becomes then this resurrection, this year of resurrection of the goddess, of the Grail mysteries, of the Holy Mother. And of course, with the resurrection of the Holy Mother comes the resurrection of also the beloved. There's not ever a separation, right? But from my vantage point, I'm really focusing on this one thing because this has been the thing that is most prominent in my experience. So 9 is this completion of a cycle, which began in 2017. And 2017 was a pivotal year in the Guardian missions. This was a year that the fail-safe timelines were being initiated, and many of us really began our rigorous training. Drink some water. And so a lot of us will feel like we are finally getting to a point where our training is completing. where everything that we are getting ready for, this fail-safe plan, I say that the fail-safe plan, I would say that I'm on a fail-safe mission, a fail-safe timeline. The Earthstar Academy is anchoring a fail-safe ascension timeline for the Earth. Fail-safe, of course, means it cannot fail. And the energies and the architecture that is supporting that fail-safe is the aurora forces that are coming from outside of this universal body. And a lot of the angelic, I mean, every single angelic starseed is connected to this timeline. And you would feel it as this fierce fire inside of your being, that there is no failing. There's no failing. There's no possibility of failure for this mission that we're on, because we are backed by such high levels of God intent, prophecy, and star families and guardian forces and all these things. There are architectures, technologies, intelligences that we have brought with us to make this a fail-safe plan. And 2017 was really when this plan was beginning to unravel. This was when the time capsule for this fail-safe began to unlock. Many of us began our rigorous training with the star families and activating our star capacities and grid work and all those things. And it's been 9 years of very intense training, many times of us thinking we were on our mission when it was another training, many times thinking this is it, we're with our soul family, and it was another training. And of course, we're not out of the woodworks yet. It really feels like, honestly, it feels like it's going to be another few years, because even though we have come to this nine energy, it feels like a lot of completion, a lot of understanding has been gained. There is still another octave of activation and integration that is yet to happen in order for us to unroll the red carpet, so to speak, unroll the rest of this timeline. And I'm really talking about like this Aurora anomalies timeline. I'm going to make a whole video about this because I think is really important. But, people are concerned about Trump being president because, various New World Order agendas and maps that have been released that, want to turn the Earth into 10 easily organized and controlled zones, and the US, Canada, and Greenland being one of those zones. And, I really say that, this comes back to, are you a spectator or are you a source player? This is a really, really important sentence that you need to sear into your brain this year. And me included, everyone, okay, as you're going through the reality, because this is how you're going to parcel through everything, because things are going to hit your consciousness and make you think something, make you believe that you're on a certain timeline, make you believe that you are on a certain trajectory. And so you have to really think about it. Are you a spectator? Are you a source player? So, for example, when people were pushing out this map, people were really scared, like, oh my God, I thought Trump was our savior. And now it turns out that he's a part of this false New World agenda or whatever. And either of those realities are part of the spectator reality. What I mean by that is that when you are actually plugged into your own soul's highest organic timeline, God is the highest being that is in control of the reality, okay? And so that means that whatever is unfolding on the world stage, it will ultimately serve God's timeline, God's agenda. If something just makes you scared and makes you feel powerless, it's useless. Put it down, okay? If you were a spectator, you would speculate, you would spectate, you would look at that thing. But because you're a source player, you can just file that away as information in your mind and say, well, actually, I'm on a Aurora. This is, I feel like it's kind of easy for me to say this because at this point I've had so many experiences of the anomalies. And I feel like if somebody has not had anomalies, it might be harder to believe. But this is why also you need to go all in and go and have your own direct experiences and get into your own soul's organic timeline because there are so many starseeds on the earth right now, so excited, so happy, so excited and full of life, ready to build the new earth. And the TV does not reflect that. The timelines are yet reflecting that. We are working in the grids, right? We are working behind the matrix. So it might take some time before the codes that we are working on installing into the Earth's light body actually manifest in the physical reality. Just like there's sometimes a lag when you correct a program in your body as a human being. Like, for example, so we say, oh, I'm unlovable, I'm unlovable. And then every person that you meet, all your friends don't care about you that much. And then you realize that you're the person that's carrying that program. So you change the program inside of your subconscious and you say, I am lovable and I am worthy of, unconditional love or whatever. And once you've changed that program, it might take 3 months, 6 months, a year before your external reality changes to match that internal belief system. So it's the same thing when we're working on the Earth's grids, just on a much bigger scale, and it takes more energy and it takes more time. But as we begin to create this new reality in the Earth's grids, the external reality has to follow its law, right? There's no possibility for the false reality to continue once the internal, inwardly grid work has occurred. Once the grids have shifted, and the grids are shifting, the grids have shifted. Okay. And so then really, it's just about, do you want to be a spectator or do you want to be a part of the process? Because all the souls that I am contracted to work with, we are here to be source players. We're here to have so much fun. I didn't come here to miss out all the fun that we could be having. Getting to experience creativity on levels that are unprecedented, unforeseen on this earth. We're going to get to play in ways and co-create in ways that we have maybe never seen, right? As an angelic, there's nothing more exciting than to get to co-create in a world like this with God, with the earth, with the elements, with our imagination, with our creativity. There's no greater joy, there's no greater fun. But in order to do that, we really have to peel ourselves off the false matrix timeline and get off of our spectator seat and become a source player. And that requires for us to go all in. And sometimes that's not going to be comfortable when we are shedding our old skin. So, a lot of the things that happen this year will be quiet, I feel. This is a very internal year where, whereas the dragon is all about, the dragon can fly, right? Dragons fly, dragons can blow fire. We think about dragons, they're very powerful, again, vital energy. The serpent has a very yin energy, very close to the earth. It doesn't mean that the serpent is any less powerful, though. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. It's like this year is not any less powerful than the year we just had. If anything, is even more powerful, but it requires a different level of consciousness to perceive it, if you understand what I mean. A little rose flavored kombucha, rose flavored everything. I hate drinking out of cans. But this kombucha only comes in a can, so I guess I'm conceding a little bit. Okay, I want to emphasize on this. This is going to be a really powerful year, but the transformation happens in a really quiet place. When we need to birth, let's say, like our soul's prophecy, our soul's mission, this is something that is the most sacred and profound to our soul, right? The place within which that comes is the deepest part of ourself. It's the place where we are so deep within and we're in that still place with God. Right? And that is the place that this scatter. The scatter is trying to distract us from it because it knows that that is the place where our treasure chest is. So the scatter mind makes us think, okay, we need to have this ad and we need to have this strategy. We need to make this content and we need to do this thing and we need to go to this place and we need to find that person. And the scatter will make us jump ahead and think, oh, God wants me to find this land. God wants me to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. All the while, where the true organic action steps must come from the quiet, still place. I really do believe that this is going to be the hardest thing for us. I feel that this initiation is going to be the hardest one for the Starseeds because, we are just so excitable and impatient and scatterbrained, right? But, and then, what add to that is the insecure voices like, oh my God, like, look what they're doing. Do I need to be doing that? All the stuff, anything that brings us into that scatter consciousness. If we can do one thing this year, and we can really, really land in that place of peace on the cool dirt, on the ground, with our Holy Mother Serpent tapped into her grids, plugged into her organic consciousness. If there's one thing that we do this whole year, if we just do that, we are setting ourselves up for very great success. And it requires for us to break through a lot of spells, right? Because the false matrix, again, makes us think the loudest person wins, right? The person with the most colorful, vibrant marketing wins. The person that can yell the loudest, that can make the most wildest spectacle out of themselves. And it makes us doubt, right? So many light workers, we're like, well, I don't want to be on the internet if the internet's like that. But I'm telling you guys, this energy, there is no replacing it. And as the grids shift, as the timeline progresses, the most valuable things that people are going to recognize is going to be that true organic soul essence. And that organic soul essence can only be birthed into this world if you are grounded in that quiet, still place and you can communicate from that place in your body out into the world. And that requires for us to really believe and trust in ourselves and to shift into being a source player, shift into this organic timeline where we trust ourselves and our inner knowing more than the illusions that are unfolding on the world stage right now. And really not going, too far one way or the other. I know that with the Trump win, a lot of people were getting a little bit too excited about it, right? Like now just really jumping all in about Trump being the greatest, Trump being the savior, Trump being this ultimate divine guy. And I'm not saying that he isn't. I don't know, right? But I'm just saying there's quite a lot of AI tech billionaires all around him. And we all know that the AI is the next control system that that the illusion, the false matrix is trying to corral people into. I don't believe that that's a timeline that is going to come into fruition because the anomaly timeline is going to interrupt it. But the anomaly timeline is going to happen through the starseeds, through people like you and me who are willing to go against the grain, to really go to that still deep place and become yourself and to actually be yourself. This is a really scary process. It really, really is. Okay, because now you're a sovereign person who does not who does not have roots in this artificial world. Your roots are much deeper and further beyond the false reality. And historically, this world has not liked people like that. Okay, so, but in this timeline, we are safe. I really do feel and believe that, which is why I'm on here on YouTube, running my mouth like this, show you guys that it's okay. And I felt so protected over the last week when I was really, really sick. I know that some of you guys were worried about me, but here I am. That's why I had to make that story and let you guys know that I was okay. Bill Holmes says, I want to curl up on a rock in the warm sun. You go do that, Bill. That sounds like a great day. That sounds like a great thing to do. I love that. Bill says, I had the realization over Christmas break that I've been too distracted to accomplish anything. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for sharing that, Bill. It's this scatter spell, and it's not our fault. It's a very intentional thing. The greatest weapon against humans right now is the phone. I guarantee it. I know it to be true. I mean, it's pretty crazy how it just sucks people in, and there's no greater, that's how the scatter gets you. Like, it's the most inorganic thing to look at one thing, and then your brain is immediately looking at something else, and then immediately looking at something else, and immediately looking at something else. Like, your brain is just in a state of trance and scattered. And when you're in that state, it's very, very difficult then to train your brain to focus on something. So it is like a muscle that you have to use. And if you're not using, like, reading books is a great exercise to strengthen your focus. Making, like, crocheting, like, whatever hobby that is, like, you have to use your focus. But the greatest focus that you could have is just your mission. Think about something you want to build over 10, 30 years and get started, you know? Jen says, needed this message as I'm looking for land with no direction or plan right now. Yeah, we don't need to look for land unless that impulse is alive. And synchronicity will guide you. There's no need to use your brain to think of the things that you need to do. In ESA, the Star Academy, we train you to get into receptive mind, because our active mind is a result of our false patriarchy programming, where we think that our brain is our sole, the only part of us that is responsible for helping us survive, which is just not true, right? Our mind is not the only thing that keeps us alive. God also does, and God has a plan. And so if we can get into the receptive mind, not the thinking mind, not the monkey mind, right? Into the receptive mind. And we go through life like that, where we're receiving information and we're processing it in a lucid and clear way by having a clear mind, by having a focused mind. Then what you end up being able to do is you're very, very good at listening. Very, very good at listening. This is the most important skill that you can possibly have. And this is exactly what we're talking about when you are needing to find land for your Aurora hub or whatever it is. The first thing that you need to do is to get really, really good at listening. So Alex says, I'm afraid I'll turn into a slice of pizza if my mantra is, I am hot, I am awesome, I am irresistible. That is really funny. I love that. Marta says, I've also heard it as stated as, are you on the court playing the game or are you in the stands commenting about it? I love that, Marta. It's so true. And so many times the people that are in the stands block people who want to play the game because people care about what other people say or think about them. And just think about how tragic that is, right? You're standing in the stands, you're listening to other people shit talk about people who are in the game. You want to get in the game, but you're scared that they're going to talk about you, so you don't get in the game. That is so sad. And the people that are in the stand talking crap, blocking people, get a life. Okay? All the rest of you guys, who the hell cares what people think about you? Get in the game. You will not regret it. It is so much fun. Play with God, play with creation, let yourself be the fullest that you can be. It is just incredible. Sarah says, I've had 2 encounters with a big snake looking at me, and then a baby snake was hanging out on my balcony. That is so sweet. LA says, I've been running away from myself for so long. Last year made me realize I want to stand still now and just be me. I love that so much. Trevor says, why do smartphones look like a monolith out of 2001: A Space Odyssey? Great question. Great question. All right. So I think there's one more message coming through for you guys. Let me just tune in real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it really just feels like so much love is coming through, so much faith and belief. Like God really, really loves you, and the earth really loves you. And if you've had visions, if you had just these ideas, you think it's your idea, right? You think, oh, I have this idea to build a healing center and to help people. Guess what? It wasn't your idea. It was placed inside of you by a force that loves you very, 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 very much. And that force put it there because they believe in you and they love you so much. And they're still encouraging you to this day if you're still feeling that. And it's really the time to realize the things that stop us are our belief systems that are inside of our mind. Like if somebody came up to me 10 years ago and said, hey, one day you're going to live the life of your dreams, you're going to raise your children, you're going to travel all over the world singing on the earth to work with the earth energies and make a living doing that, I would think that they're crazy. Right? I'm like, who in their right mind would want to listen to me ramble on the internet about what goes on in my brain and how I talk to trees and stuff? Like, who would want to listen to me talking to rocks? I thought I'm crazy, you know? But the thing is that that was just a belief that I had in my mind. I didn't think you guys existed. And that's just the truth. God put me here to be a reflection, to show you that the dreams and the uniqueness that are inside of you is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And you're not supposed to be anyone else. You're just supposed to be yourself, which makes, so many of you guys feel intimidated by the social media, by the technology. And here's the thing is that if you go about the technology, allowing the technology to dictate how you create, then you are being siphoned. But if you go into it knowing that you are architecting technology for the future of humanity and you are doing it from a place of authenticity and being completely yourself, then I feel that this is a great service, and there's so many people on the planet that needs to receive that gift that God has placed inside of you. And maybe that's not everyone's thing, but for a lot of you guys, you are stopping yourselves and limiting yourselves and not allowing yourself to go forward with the mission that you are sent here to do. And I feel like God is just asking for you to give yourself full permission to be yourself, right? To just be honest and real with the reality. And I feel like when that innocence is there, you really are invincible in a way. It's like I used to think I had to protect this part of me by being different on social media. I felt like I had to be a personality so that I could protect this very sacred and holy spark of light inside of me from eyes who may not be able to honor it, you know? And I realized that that part of me actually doesn't need protection in the way that that light is meant to touch even those people who can't behold that light properly. And that's the power of the innocence, is that it is incorruptible, it is invincible, it is the force that restructures and re-architects the world and not the other way around. There is nothing of this world that can de-architect pure innocence. And this is a obviously a unlocking, because this great innocence, of course, it is one of the main essence, the main frequencies of the true Holy Mother energy. It is this innocence. And this is why I'm saying this is like the return of her consciousness, because we don't know who she is. Humans have no idea who she is. And when I say that, it's like, we have these images of her, right? I've seen these music videos, like this, these sexy dances in Egyptian costumes, and oh, it's dark and it's sexy, and that is so divine feminine, or the other images are like, yeah, she's rebellious and she eats the patriarchy for breakfast. And it's like, is that who Holy Mother is? Like, I think we've forgotten her so much, and now we have our imagination, and the imagination is colored with our trauma and our pain and our jealousy and our everything. And we say, oh, this is the exiled feminine. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with those energies and ways of interacting with the divine, because the thing is that that's just where we are at. This is where humans are at. We're in the state of spiritual immaturity, and we've forgotten who she is. But her true essence is coming back through. Her true essence is coming through the grids, and it's not coming in with fireworks and freaking loud festival music, strippers and everything, right? She's gonna come through really, really quietly. But quietly does not mean softly. Dora says she is a dragon. She is a dragon. She's so many things. Quietly does not mean inconspicuously. Okay, so last question that is coming through is like, what does it feel like to not be wounded? What would it feel like to not have trauma? Because it feels like the healing journey is like this circus hamster wheel. And so oftentimes people even say it's like this honor thing. They're like, yeah, it never ends. I'm always going to be here and it never ends. I'm going to heal. I'm going to heal forever. I think it's sweet. I think it's very, very endearing. But like, what could it feel like? Like, is that something that's even allowed? Are we allowed to think that maybe one day we will be healed? Like, is a state of trauma like something that is the way that we're designed? like, when people say like, oh, like it never ends, the work never ends, like what does that mean? Are we locking ourselves into a state of perpetual trauma because we think that's the most honorable thing? And bless us, right? Or we just want to do the right thing, we want to be the right way, we want to slay our ego and be a good girl. And so like we want to just be right. Well, what does it feel like to not be traumatized? To just be happy, to just be free, to just see the earth as pristine. Like, what could it be like? And it's like, can we arrive at heaven on earth if we can't fathom what being healed can be like? And if we're not ready to let go of the pain, if we don't want to let go of the things that we actually gain by being traumatized, and I guess this is like the letting go of the victimization. I'm seeing like the Ouroboros, where the serpent is eating its tail. It's like, are we going to step out of that loop? Are we going to step into a new higher timeline, a higher reality where we actually have been fully renewed and we love ourselves so much that we give ourselves this opportunity to be healed? And I don't mean this in a superficial, kind of bypassy kind of way. I mean this in like a embodied inside the body experience kind of way. Like, how about we're so in our body and we love our body so much that that self-love kind of just dries up all the spaces, that self-hatred no longer has air inside of our body. It just can't be there anymore. It just dries up and dies. And once that anti-self virus dies, like what's left, right? It's like trauma is festering, is like an infection, and that infection thrives on the anti-self virus, on self-hatred, which is not organic, it's not natural, but it exists in everyone. And so once that virus has been exterminated, how could it feel inside of our body if we loved ourselves 100% and we were just present in our body and the body was just yours? It just belonged to you. There's no thought, no energy, no consciousness that is not organically yours inside of your body. Like, what would that feel like? And this is the thing that we are focused on in our continuous creation, because if we just focus on this one thing, we become this most authentic, organic fountain of source energy that our body is designed and made to be. And I mean, I hope you guys realize that what I'm sharing with you right now is pure gold, right? What I'm sharing with you right now is the source of the greatest value, wealth that the world is trying to hide from you. Nova says, I constantly feel like Jekyll and Hyde in my own body between my ego and my true self. That's not your ego. It's not your ego. It is your traumatized ego. It's your infected ego, but your ego, there actually shouldn't be a space between your ego and your true self. When people demonize their ego, is still a part of yourself, right? So I like to identify, differently. It's like it's an infection. It's an artificial. It's not real. It's not you. Don't identify with it, right? Once you say, this is my true self, and this is an artificial thing that's not me, right? See how space is already created there for you to come in a little bit deeper and choose yourself? Carter says, a therapist I used to work with would always talk about how hard healing is. It was not helpful at all. And I mean, here's the thing is that when you go to a healer, you want to go to a healer who loves life, who's more devoted to being alive than being sick, you know? And unfortunately, most human beings, 99.99999% of human beings, don't even know what being alive as a human being is or feels like. This is the only thing that I have been focused on and obsessed with. The only thing that made me keep going over the decade is show me, God, what it feels like to be alive. And, after asking this question for a long time, I really feel like the sickness that human beings are experiencing, it is, that these complex multidimensional viruses that make us feel disconnected from vitality. So it could steal our essence, right? So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. My energy is still a little bit soft, but I really like it from being sick. This energy report is almost the energy of the year. There was so much available here, but the amount of value, the amount of gold that each person received comes back to your ability to come into stillness and to actually receive. Sometimes I get emails from people being like, hey, not often. This doesn't happen often. It happened one time. The last course I ran, this one person emailed us being like, this sucks. Can I have a refund? It's really funny. And I just thought it was so funny because your ability to acquire value, your ability to receive life, right, is essentially the same. Your ability to receive from the world. And I think that my ability to receive from people is really, really high because when I sign up for mentorship and classes, I'm always the person that's like pretty quiet. I don't like to get my money's worth or whatever, right? Like I'm not trying to squeeze people for every ounce of whatever I think I deserve because just by being there, I'm gaining so much. I'm pretty sure if people don't even give me a session on a quantum level, I'm just receiving and I'm constantly having magical experiences because I'm so receptive to what is being shared. And I'm sharing this because this is a big energy this year, right? What I was saying is that there's a lot of gifts this year, especially for those who are connected to Holy Mother. There's going to be a lot of soul retrieval and resurrection and power reclamation and things like that. But the scatterbrain is an absolute venom weapon set against us. If we cannot drop into a strong and peaceful and still enough consciousness to be present with this year, we will completely miss it because it's going to be quiet and the world is going to be loud and there's going to be other things going on. And we'll keep wanting to be a spectator to watch everyone else do their thing. And we will completely miss what our body and what our mind is needing and can receive from this year. So, my prayer for each and every one of you guys that are watching this video is that you really find yourself fully and completely, 100%, that you really close the space between you and God and inside of you. Any places where there's still mistrust or fear or doubt of yourself and of God, I just pray that those spaces are filled up with the love and light of pure love, pure God, filled up with the presence of your soul's essence, filled up with the stillness of inner knowing. to the point where those spaces no longer leak any energy, right? That you're fully self-contained and becoming a powerful source of creation for yourself and your life and your legacy. And I just really pray that this year, blossoms into this year of shedding skins, renewal, becoming the version of yourself that you were always born to be, and feeling safe, feeling held by the arms of Holy Mother to go into the deepest levels of renewal and healing, knowing that it doesn't have to be ridiculously painful and hard. Maybe that was your experience in the past, but this does not have to be the experience now that the grids are so full of light. The grids are so full of presence, of divine union. Healing can happen so easily and so gracefully with the compassion of our Mother and Father. So, whatever it may be that we have been hiding from, that we find the courage and the peace and the inner knowing to be able to go in and seal those spaces up so you can find fullness and wholeness in your body, so that God can use you as an instrument of God's creation on this earth. And I'm just really looking forward to witnessing this beautiful year unfold. I hope that this video is nourishing. I hope that this video was supportive for you. I hope that it gave you clarity on how to navigate this year. And I think that there's a couple things you better have written down, right? First thing, are you a spectator or are you a source player? Second thing, am I grounded and still and making my own decisions? Right? This means really moving out of that scatterbrain. Something that I've really been cranking down on is like, okay, for example, if you are craving something, if you still have an addiction, if you still just want to watch Netflix, like when you go to do that thing, ask yourself, is it me that is making this decision? Or am I influenced by some parasitic force that is trying to coerce me into doing that thing? As soon as you ask yourself that question, your mind is going to know the difference. And then you're just going to start to feel icky every single time you feel like you're being coerced by something that is not your organic soul consciousness to do something that you don't actually want to do. So this is going to, of course, lead into deeper levels of healing, of why those things, those comfort things are hiding our pain from us, right? That's why they're there. And it's going to spiral us into these deeper places of healing, where then we're going to be able to land into the stillness, this organic reality where we don't need to be entertained. We don't need to be stimulated away from what is present. We can just be present. And from here, we can point our razor sharp focus and slither really close to the ground in one direction. And you're going to see how much further you get by the end of this year than you were in 2024. All right. I love you guys so much. I hope I see you guys in our wing trauma workshop and healing ceremony in half an hour. It's inside of the Earth Star Academy. So otherwise, I will see you. Oh, I guess next month, we're going to do a really exciting workshop here on YouTube. I'm doing a dimensional frequency fences workshop. This is going to blow all y'all guys' minds. So I'm not even going to say anything. You'll see my posts, but you won't want to miss that one. But I love you guys so much, and I hope that this was nourishing. You guys have my promise. In this world where things are getting AI and getting super fast, I'm going to keep talking slower. So if you ever need to get brought back to the earth, come join me in my live streams. I will never overstimulate you. And this is what I'm committing to, and I'm gonna die on this hill. So I love you so much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.